Hello everybody, this is the Captain here, and this is a video request. And if you have a video request, you can send it to www.assholeconsulting.com, and I will take care of it. And it doesn't have to be a video request. It can be any kind of request where you need any kind of guidance, advice, wisdom, leadership, information, or just a general pointing in one direction, like that. Bam, just like that. I will do it for a fee. I will charge for it. But $20 or $30 worth of prevention is worth literally tens of thousands of dollars worth of mistakes. Lord knows how many kids I've saved for majoring in stupid shit. That's like, you know, hey, for 15 bucks I'll tell you not to major in English. You're like, God, thank you, Aaron Clary, you saved me. Thanks to Asshole Consulting, I became an engineer instead of an English major. Anyway, we do have a video request, and this kind fellow, won't mention his name, he wanted a video request so it might benefit other people, and some people do that. That's very nice of them. So it also means that if you have a question, maybe we've already done this in the archive, so just search my YouTube channel, see if I haven't done a video for you that already addresses your concern. But otherwise, you can always contact me here. Aaron, I read Bachelor Pad Economics, which provided me with the impetus to beginning researching retirement investment options of my own volition. I have several people who, like myself, are inspired to be upwardly mobile, but are attempting to find the best possible solutions for starting a business, saving for retirement, growing wealth. In my 20s, I fell hook, line, and sinker into the real estate bubble, but didn't extend myself to the point that I was in too deep. I credit this to the fact that I worked as a self-employed contractor for several years, and while I lacked the ability to properly analyze my situation, gained an intuition into how unreliable cash flow can be. Good man, yes, you do know that working as a contractor. I presume in the real estate industry. Oh man, when I was in banking, we had these douches. These idiot Swipple suburbanite people, we're gonna build our dream home, and they go get $350,000 from the bank. They drop $120,000 on the contractor. You just either walk off the job or leave because they just didn't do any due diligence. It's just fucking great. Oh, those are the times. We're crushed. Our dreams are destroyed because you're idiots. That's why you shouldn't breed. Clean you guys out of the gene pool. I've encouraged some acquaintances to open an IRA and an investment account. I'm of the opinion that an employed person in their early 30s should diversify their savings between long-term and short-term while vetting business plans to determine how much capital and expertise that they would need to start a business. I would like to know if you can make a video clarifying general strategies to use once you have taken the first steps, i.e. IRA, investment account, money market account for liquidity. Once you've taken the first steps. I'm incredulous of some of the money managers that prey on unsophisticated investors and feel before working with them, you should become self-educated. That is very true. I will forward the video to several people who may be turned off by the cursing. If possible, please don't hesitate to be brash but not crude. I hope I wasn't. So I don't think I was. I'll try not to be too crass. So I'll put a caveat in my email to you. But I will not curse henceforth. Okay, here's the deal. That was very important. The financial industry, as I know many of you are aware, is incredibly corrupt, and it is headed up by the most inept, and I wish I could curse, but I just told you I wouldn't, type of people ever imaginable. That is not an opinion. I've worked with these people. It's not because I couldn't make it in the field. I did. I was there for 15 years, retired as like an assistant vice president, which is like a dishwasher. And so trust you me when I tell you these people are dumb, and they're also immoral. Not all of them, but most of them. Okay. So when it comes to retirement planning, it's very important that you take these things into your own hands. Now, there are many ways to do this. There's self-study. You could take classes. Whatever you do, ensure that it is not taught by a company that is simply going to sell you their services. And that's not even to say that there aren't good companies that don't use that as like a legitimate marketing tool to sell their financial advisory services. And then that's okay if you don't want, here's something, but you got to look out for that. Okay. Now this is why I'm not trying to sell you on anything. This is just why I have a class called Stocks, Bonds, Investing, Oh My, and it's been doing well for 15 years. I started back when I was 24. That's how long I've been teaching that class. It's just a basic introductory class to stocks, bonds, and investing, everything that you would need to know. I strongly recommend you go take that class, not just because it will make me money, but more importantly, I don't work for any financial advisor. That's the whole point of that class, all right? So if you wanted that, now it costs money. Can you learn this stuff for free on there? Yes, you absolutely can. It may be worth your time just to, or go get an investment book for dummies. You can find Eric Tyson, Dave Ramsey, Suze Orman, all those people you could definitely listen to. And I'm just saying I have like a one succinct class. Now, it's somewhere between 90 to 120 bucks, whatever. Search the title. It's offered through all these different community education programs, all these different community colleges. Yeah, you're going to have to pay, but that's one place to go, I know for sure, because I wrote it. That's going to give you the basics. Now, otherwise, library, investment tutorials, basics on financial planning, search YouTube, absolutely. Go ahead, do it, whatever. The key thing is that nobody is trying to sell you on making them your financial advisor. Now, here's the other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to save you a lot of time. History has proven, not the future, because no one knows what the future is going to be. History has proven that the majority, it's about 85% of the investment professionals can't beat the index. You say, well, what's the index and why should I care about that? Well, young, entrepreneurial, intrepid, wannabe investors, the index is what the Dow Jones Industrial Average is, or more specifically, the S&P 500. And the one thing everyone should know in investing is that most of the professionals cannot beat the index. Some might beat them some years, others might beat them other years, but over the long run, 85% of the professionals can't beat the index. So what this tells you is you want to find somebody that does beat the index consistently. You want to find that 15%. So you could go to a website like Morningstar.com, look up different mutual funds, and it will show you. There's a chart that compares it against its respective index or the S&P 500. Sometimes your mutual funds have stocks and bonds, so it's not just the S&P 500 they compare it to. They compare it to a hybrid index. But you want to make sure that those funds that you're investing in beat the index. Now, here's the other thing. What if there was some magical way you could just invest in the index? You, with just this video alone, this 2-minute bit of information I've given you, if you invest in the index, guess what? You're beating 85% of the masters in finance, the MBAs, the Harvard Ivy League graduate, the Wall Street geniuses. Ha-ha! You, I'm just giving you more wisdom and information that you need to know than a Harvard MBA when it comes to financial investment management. You know, okay, I can't curse. I got myself. So, and why you may want to look at these things, and this is why you want to look at these things called indexed funds. You probably have heard of it. These are funds that track indexes, which are both grammatically correct, by the way. You may also be interested in what are called ETF, exchange trade funds. Why can't, I was thinking electronic communicators, ECNs. ETFs, they're just like index funds. They track an index, but they trade more like stocks. And some brokerages, Vanguard I think is one of them, are waiving the commission fees because, I won't bore you. I'm just going to say there's two ways to invest in an index. ETFs or indexed funds, both of which, if you do it right, have much lower managerial expenses than actively managed funds like that try and beat the index. So that's the number one thing you need to know, that if you're going to invest in the stock market, now keep in mind, if you could invest in the stock market, I want to invest in the index, and it could still go down by 60%. But there's an 85% chance, or 85% of the professional money managers will lose more than 60%. So that, just because this is not the cure end all be all, this is still risk. You could still lose all your money, but over time, in the past, history has proven 85% of the money managers, professionals, do not beat the index. So you simply investing in the index, if this holds true, are likely to beat them. No guarantees in the future. So that's one thing. The second thing you have to worry about. I know there's IRAs and 401ks and all these other good things, but if you look at Cyprus, Argentina, Bulgaria, and Poland, well, what do those countries do? Well, they basically nationalize people's private pensions or their 401ks and IRAs. And in Cyprus, they just came out and stole people's bank accounts, the percentage of their bank deposits. The United States is in somewhat of a similar financial situation. Now, we have reserve currency status, and I'm not going to bore you with the details of that. You can look it up. But it has happened where the government had some shortfalls and massive debts, like we do. And they said, hey, look at what do we got? I think it was like 10 trillion in savings, or like 401k money. I'd have to look it up again. The government's like, look at that over, ooh, doobie dabby. We're going to take that for the children, for the poor, for the old and elderly. You don't hate the poor, the children, the elderly, and minorities, do you? Because you're a racist agent. I should charge you more for making me not curse. Anyway, there's a risk that they may, at worst, confiscate the whole dang lot, or rescind the tax treatments on many of these retirement plans. Like, we are going to tax you on. Oh, we told you that we're going to give you a tax deduction, now we're not. Or, oh, we said we weren't going to tax you on your withdrawals, now we are. So that's another thing you got to be concerned about. The third thing that this kind man brought up was starting a business, entrepreneurial venture. And this is one thing, everyone says, well, if everybody did that, then nobody. Yeah, but not everybody's going to do it. All right, welcome to my YouTube channel. We only have 13,000 subscribers. There's 315 million Americans. We're geniuses. If you're watching this channel right now, you're a genius. And we could all do this, but you know what? It wouldn't matter. We could still all get away with it because we're just a puny little microscopic bleep in the American population. Now, yeah, if the entire American population do this, but they're not going to. Don't worry. It's not going to happen. And that is start your own business. This goes back to the olden days. In the olden days, there was no 401ks or IRAs or government-sanctioned retirement plans. There was no Social Security. You had to have something else going. You had to have savings. You had to have a business. You had to have a trade. So you're the blacksmith, you're the goldsmith, you're the butcher, or whatever it was, and then you pass that on to your son or maybe sold it to somebody, and then you live off that retirement. And that's that. So in other words, having a business is actually an older profession form of retirement than 401ks and IRAs, which only came in, 401ks like 1978. So not only for that, but for other reasons, mainly sanity reasons, because most jobs suck and are abusive and toxic, you will want to consider starting a business. Now, this requires a certain bit of personality, requires a lot of work. It's not, I was in Florida Keys 2 hours ago, and you could just see it on the shops. For sale, Dailies Doilies. For lease, Bob's Bobbles. For sale, Bob's Cigar Shop. And you could just tell these tourist traps, weren't even tourist traps, it's just these trinket stores were someone's dreams, but they always went out of business. And I guarantee if I go down to the Florida Keys next year, it's going to be switched. The ones that were out for lease are now leased out. The Bob's Bobbles, gone out of business. You have to start a business that makes money. Now, I always wanted to do that. I always want to start a bar. I don't be like Sam Malone and start a bar. Stop being freaking idiots and realize the number one thing to entrepreneurship and a successful business is doing what people want you to do, not what you like. Hopefully those two things are the same. But that's for you to figure out what business idea you should start. Still, when you start a business, you are going to want to make sure that you're doing it right, which means you get good financial statements and you understand accounting. You understand your income statement, balance sheet. Many ways to do that too. But the key thing is before you get into starting a business, you read books, get consulting. Consult me, I'll consult you. I know how. I've set up LLCs. I have an accounting system. I know it all. But for God's sake, get a good idea and then do it right. Do not F it up. Okay? Now, if you do it right, you don't F it up, you'll have a business, and then that will generate income, and that hopefully would replace your daytime job. And not only that, if you have a business, by the time you're 60, 65, 70, you may want to retire. You may say, you know what? I'm going to sell it. Or if you do it really right, it's outsourced. Like someone else manages it for you. You kind of keep tabs in, go into the office every once in a while, and you collect 85% of the profits, and you pay everybody else with 15%. That's ideal. Now, that's a Herculean endeavor. Most people are too lazy to do it. Most Americans don't know what entrepreneurship is, but they do know what a government check is. So again, don't worry. Ain't going to be no 315 million Americans doing it with their, government cheddar. So go that route. It is definitely worth a route worth pursuing if you're of the entrepreneurial mindset, but understand the risks are involved with starting a business. As for once you set up your IRA and your 401k, what should you invest in? I can't tell you that because I'm not licensed to. And even if I was, I wouldn't because I can't tell. There's no way to predict it. There is no way to predict it. I know what I would do personally myself. But this is where you may want to consult a financial advisor because they're not just going to talk to you about stocks. You kind of already know what to do with stocks. Well, I'm just going to do S&P 500. But how much do you want that to be international? How much of that do you want to be precious metals? How much do you want that to be exposed to real estate? How much of that do you want to be in fixed income or bonds? How much do you want that to be foreign income or bonds? It really depends on your age. Really depends on your risk appetite. Depends on whether you have kids. Do you have property already? Or do you rent? There's no one strategy that I could tell you what to invest in because it's all contingent on the individual. And even if you gave me your life story and your life goals, I still wouldn't advise you. All I could say is, what would Aaron do in that situation? And then I couldn't charge you for it. But that is something. Look, retirement, it's on you. Retirement planning is on you. It's not, don't just come in and what should I do? Well, what do you want to do with your life? That's how you start. That's your first step. What do you want to do with your life? That provides the parameters and the structure by which you can start doing some number crunches. Well, I want to have a kid, want to have a house, want to have a wife. And what is this going to cost me? Well, we do, what's rent here? What's rent there? Get a spreadsheet. That's your job. Or you can pay an arm and a leg for a financial advisor to do it. So, anyway, so I hope that helps. I just want, hang on, let me double check. Well, some people might prey on this again. Self-educate, employed IRAs, 401ks, self-employed. Yeah, I think we got everything here. So, yes, please, this is not, oh, I'll just have my accountant do it. I wish people would do their own taxes because then you would wake up and realize just how much people are getting screwed over by the government. I wish people would do their own financial planning. All right? I wish people would take care of their own health. But just go watch TV. The Kardashians are on. Oh, look, what's her name has her butt showing again. What do you mean I have no money when I'm 73? It starts with you, guys. It starts with you. So your retirement planning, your career planning, personal financial management planning, which it all falls under, and then any kind of entrepreneurial endeavor, it's all you. No one's just going to come in, take care of it. So anyway, hope that it gives you some parameters, some ideas, some general, hopefully a couple helpful tips, especially with that index thing. And check out sorry, I'm sick. In the Florida, I get sick. Stocks, bonds, investing, oh my, that class. And then also, if you had any questions specifically, go to www.assholeconsulting. Sorry, professional pronoun, wasn't cursing, I have to quote it. www.assholeconsulting.com, and I'll see if I can take care of you for an egregious fee. Egregious! Very pricey. Wish you guys the best. Tools.